Hello everyone, my name is Lumini, and as you can see, we are actually going to do an arena quest instead of the usual normal quest. Now, I've been inspired by, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name because I realize now that I've never actually said it out loud, but Caolin Berg. He's been doing these arena quests, and he did this one with Adept Sword and Shield, and I was kind of inspired to do it since I had some knowledge with Sword and Shield. But that being said, I don't necessarily have knowledge with the Adept Sword and Shield, which is what this quest forces you to do. Now, as you can tell, most important thing that I did was instead of using the affinity oil right before the gate, I decided to go outside and apply it right before the battle actually starts, so that way I can get as much uptime as possible with it. Now, the other thing to note about this quest is that it's very important to try and manage when you get the Shoryogeki and when you finally manage to get the mount. Mainly because after you get done with the mount, if you line up all three of your Shoryogeki hits, then you can get in another stun, and now all of a sudden you have yourself a much larger window than you did before. But as you're about to see right here, I kind of accidentally whiffed that. But if you do end up missing that third hit, then you can usually make up for it by applying some of the shield bashes. At best, all you'll need is just 2 shield bashes, but if you end up missing them, then you might need a couple more, because of course the KO status and just about every other status that decays over time. Now, whenever he does the wing slams, it's honestly better to not have to adept dodge that, because you end up using some time adept dodging it and then maybe getting in 2 hits, as opposed to being able to get in like a couple smacks like that right there. It is very important to note that his body is not a weak spot whenever it's not charged. So like anytime a spot on his body, with the exception of his head, anytime it starts to become charged, then it becomes a weak spot. Unfortunately, right there, I got smacked out of getting in the infinity oil, and that honestly probably cost me my sub 5 or my sub 6, if I'm being honest with you. The other thing that you have to really manage is whenever you sharpen your weapon too. It's honestly pretty difficult to manage, especially once you get to yellow. The longer you end up staying in that yellow, the worse off you typically get. And of course, sharpen animation is quite long, so if you manage to get in where, let's just say he does the wing slam, and then pray that he starts to take flight, because then you know that you have enough time to finish it up and not get punished too hard for it. Now, I'm trying to make sure I don't smack his wings too much, and I try to make sure that I don't stagger him out of his wings, because every single time he does that wing slam, that's where I can get in my extra damage, and if those wings aren't charged, then I'm not getting that damage. Now, again, you might have heard me talk about it in the past, but it is extremely important to keep in mind that your Shoryogeki does in fact add to your mount status. So it's possible that maybe by the time you unleash your second or maybe your third Shoryogeki that you'll end up starting a mount. Here we go, dodge the roar. Now, a thing that I have failed to mention, and I should have mentioned it earlier when I had the first mount, is that it is definitely very RNG dependent on like what type of mount you get, which can end up just killing your time or saving your time. Worst RNG, if I'm being honest, is where he starts to struggle immediately, and maybe he just starts roaring right after bat. I mean, you could still complete your mount. However, you just end up losing time having to struggle along with it. Me, personally, I find that the best RNG where you could just keep on wailing at him without having to lose out on any time is whenever he does the tailspin twice and then he begins struggling. In which case, then you're actually able to get in your full mount. Now, if you ever needed a window to sharpen, that giant thunder crash right there is honestly your best time to do it. Just obviously make sure you get out of the way, otherwise you just lose your entire thing. And there it goes. Like I said earlier, Shoryokeki can give you your mount right there. Thankfully, at this point of the match, this guy is exhausted, so it is going to give me a little bit of an extra window to keep on whacking on him. And there we go again. Still exhausted. Now, another thing that I should note is that sometimes in the middle of the match, you can get awfully lucky and he'll just taunt instead of actually doing any attacks. Anytime he taunts, I think that honestly saves you maybe 5 seconds, because you can at least get in a solid combo unless you accidentally stagger him out. Alright, so that's pretty much all I have to say about this quest. Obviously, you can still get a faster time. You've seen that I've made plenty of mistakes throughout this whole thing. And I know a time that I've seen is somewhere around 5 minutes and 5-ish seconds. Something insane like that. But I don't think I'm going to be doing this quest anytime soon. I'm probably going to be doing the other event arena quests until Monster Hunter Rise comes out. Well, until next time, see ya.